Hello again, my name's Lindy Cowling. Welcome to my channel. Website is www.lindycowling.co.uk, and should you wish to contact me for any reason, the way to do that would be via email, info@lindycowling.co.uk. The field of work I work in is a 15-year background as a therapist, university accredited hypnotherapist, do hypnotherapy, a little bit of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I've done 15 years in doing past life regression, future life progression, healing, soul work, 3.5 years in a twin flame union, so work on that side of things as well. Also a medium clairvoyant, which means linking to the spirit of people that have passed over and given evidence of that. Also doing readings for people where they are in their lives now and where potentially they could be slightly further ahead in their timeline. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. It's a lot of different bases that I cover. I'm going to be bringing out some videos on all sorts of things, and some of them will be on the paranormal side of things and within the paranormal arena, as well as running alongside other work that I'm passionate about, which would be the divine love, which would be the divine template, which would be ascension, soulmates, twin flames, that side of things as well. But I'm also going to be covering a lot of other things alongside that and within that. So also bringing out, I've just brought out a video which will be released probably the same evening as I'm releasing this. I'm going to be bringing out a weekly video called Time for the Meds, and that is going to morph and change every single week depending on what kind of questions people would like answered, or depending on if it's a comment on world energy that week, if it is channeling that week, if it's visualizations or meditations that week. It's going to morph, and I really feel it's like a co-creative energy. So it really depends on it's a two-way street, what I feel would be the way to go with this, but also the feedback I'm getting back and what people are really benefiting from or really wanting or needing at this time. And I'm going to kind of try and work it together. So we'll see how it goes. If it's successful and I'm still enjoying it and people are enjoying it, I'll carry on doing that. If it's not successful, then I'll pull it. It doesn't really matter. That's the wonderful thing about this co-creative energy. We'll just go with it, see what happens. You know, if it doesn't morph one way, it'll morph another. So the video title of today is The Divine Dance, Masculine and Feminine Tango. The Divine Dance, the Masculine and Feminine Tango. I didn't know I was going to be doing this video today. Anyone that's seen my work before will know that I speak on camera about things that I'm inspired to speak about, or have the knowing to speak about, or have had experience of, all along those lines. So that's the way I work. And I was very inspired to come on the camera today, even though I didn't plan to. It was a last minute thing, to talk a little bit about the divine masculine and the divine feminine side of us, really, and the template and humanity. As you would have noticed from my previous work, I always start at the top and work my way down, which means I start at spirit, then come down to soul, and then come down really into the morphing into the physical body. So there's no separation, but I just start from there. That's my starting point, and then bring it down into the physical. So let's start at the very top. And this is something I will say from the off, that sometimes I might say things that really resonate with somebody watching, which means they really It really inspires them, or opens them up, or it touches their heart. It encourages them to make changes or to seek out further, which is a wonderful thing. Sometimes some things I might say might push people's buttons and trigger them a little bit into feeling challenged by things I say, or challenged by the angle I'm coming from. That's also fine as well. Sometimes it's meant to do that because it's meant to bring up stuff within them, and you know, they can easily just switch the video off. So all I'm going to do is just be me, really. That's the whole energy of the moment, being totally authentic, and give you my take on things, my feeling on things, and my knowing on things. And of course, none of us is infallible. I mean, that vulnerability and that authenticity and being genuine is the energy of the time we're living in. So some people it will help and it resonate, and some people, you know, press their buttons, and some people won't really be interested. So that doesn't matter. That's the whole beauty of this human life that we're living. So the divine dance, masculine and feminine tango. I'm going to start at the top. And probably the first thing I'm going to say might be very interesting to some people, and could be a little bit controversial for others. So the way I'm going to put it is like a question, like hypothetical. If by this stage you have even entertained the idea, not accepted the idea, even entertained the idea that we as human beings, governed by our soul and spirit within us, are a mixture of masculine and feminine. If by this stage you have accepted that we have patterning put down, templates put down, and we see this across nature as well, the mixture between the masculine and feminine, the evolution of everything, animals, plants, the evolution of humanity, a mixture of energies, of masculine and feminine energies. And if you accept that there's this templating, the old templating, but also the new templating is a mixture of the two energies. It's not, can't ever be just all masculine, it can't ever be just all feminine on the planet. It's a mixture. It's the mixture of masculine and feminine within, masculine and feminine around us. It's that dance of energy existing together. I ask you to entertain the idea that, and this comes from someone who's very spiritual but non-religious, which means I don't follow any particular religion. I don't even know that much about religion. I have heard bits over my lifetime so far, bits and pieces from all over the place, from television. I don't think I've ever read books on religion, but I'm not templated with that, but I'm very, very spiritual. So I ask you to entertain the idea that the creator, some people would call the creator source, some people would call the creator God, some other religions may have another name for that energy or that being. But if we start from there, it just really, I find it really, really fascinating, and I was inspired by this. I'll tell you why I was inspired in a minute. That throughout generations of our history, we have always perceived the top there, the pinnacle, the creator, source, God, whatever you refer to that energy, that being as masculine. And I never ever really thought about that or even questioned that until today. And I was really inspired and resonated to question and ask about it today, because my own mother gave me some books that she had finished reading. And one of those books was a book that was published in 2004, which I only just read yesterday, by a wonderful spiritual teacher who I have been aware of her work over the years and read much of what she's done. She's brilliant, called Sylvia Browne. But I haven't read anything of hers for a long time now. And this book is called Mother God. And I thought, that's an unusual title. And I picked this book up, and I read very, very quickly anyway. It's almost, you know, I can just read. I read very, very fast. And I read this book literally within a few hours. It's not a very big book. It's very beautiful. It's got lots of prayers in it, and it's very beautifully written. But it goes through the historical references and the different religions of the mentioning of a female divine presence, which has very much been written out of history. And there are various takes on this. Some of them I'd heard those various takes in the media and through other ways, you know, through Mary, you know, Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene and that kind of thing. You know, I'd heard various takes on it. She calls the feminine representation by another name. I can't actually remember the name of it now, ironically. It begins with A. But that's neither here nor there. But it's the representation of the same consciousness. This is the important thing. It doesn't matter what the name is. It's the representation of the same consciousness. And the point she was making is that throughout history, this consciousness has very much been elbowed to one side or hidden to one side or almost put into a goddess-like context. And the point she was making is, perhaps she was actually making the point, perhaps there are two creators, a masculine form of creator, which some people refer to as God, but also a feminine creator that runs alongside that. And as I was reading this and feeling into that, because it doesn't challenge me at all, I don't find that challenging, what it does resonate with me, and I resonated with a huge amount what she was saying there, but I'm going to take it one step further and say, I don't feel necessarily that it has to be two creators, but that it is one creator expressing in the masculine and expressing in the feminine. Just like we have the divine templating on this planet. For example, the twin flame union, an expression of feminine energy, an expression of masculine energy. And that completely not only makes logical sense to me, but just totally resonates with me that, well, of course, why haven't any of us realized that or even thought of it before? And perhaps millions have, and they've said it in other ways, where source energy, again, God. I very rarely use the word God. I don't think I've hardly ever used it on any of my videos, because that's not a term I use very often, but God, source energy, the overall divine loving energy. How we've mostly referred to it as masculine, and the feminine being separate and almost like in a goddess thing, or almost like it has been kind of hidden. That actually it's the same energy, but expressed in a feminine way and expressed in a masculine way. And the point she was making in this book, which I would recommend people to read if they're interested, is that most people, when they're praying or tapping into divine energy, kind of tend to, because of their belief systems, tap into what they believe is a masculine God, actually, when in fact, if you were to call upon the feminine expression of consciousness, that is only too readily available for you to tap into. And the suggestion was, why not try that? So I thought that was a wonderful concept, but it resonates with me because I truly feel that our understanding of the creator or source has been very limited, and it just makes perfect sense and totally resonates with me that of course there's no separation, even at that point, at the point of creation. Why would it be separate, that we had to separate the masculine creator and the feminine creator? Why could that not all morph out of the same energy in the same pot? And it's an expression of consciousness, like we're consistently, or I'm consistently talking about in these videos, is an expression of consciousness. So consciousness can express from the same melting pot of energy, creation and source, divine love. It can express from that same, it starts at that same point, but expressing consciousness in a feminine or a masculine way. And that really, you know, linked me into, well, of course, that makes complete sense. I mean, all the new divine loved ascensionary templates, the divine loved ones, the templates laid down so that we could connect in higher partnerships of divine love with people, they are all templated with a balance of masculine and feminine energy. And if that's a template as a representation of the divine within all of us, then surely the ultimate divine must be a representation of masculine and feminine energy. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's pivotal to everything, because if we are a mixture of masculine and feminine within each of us, and the template is masculine and feminine, and the whole balance of everything on this planet is always that dance, isn't it? That tango of masculine and feminine energy. We see it through nature, we see it through plant life, we see it through animals. We see this whole merging of our energies swimming around in the various forms they swim around in. But it's all that balance, isn't it? The balance within us. It just makes perfect sense to me, and it's really resonated with me. And you know, I have one of those what we call light bulb moments, aha moments, all actually inspired by reading that book. But also, you know, to take it one step further, and it set off a lot of realizations within me. And it resonates with me that if we are templating the divine masculine and the divine feminine here as a representation of a template, that for perfect universal balance, if you like, and earth balance and templating balance and our balance, surely it must come out of a melting pot of absolute divine balance, a mixture of divine feminine and divine masculine. And it may filter down in different cultures and different religions and in different ways. So some might call them the feminine different names and different goddesses, and I can't even really actually comment on that, because I don't really know much about that. But it just makes sense, you know, it would filter down in different representations of feminine consciousness and different representations of masculine consciousness. But it's all about balance at the end of the day, and it all coming together in this dance of energy. There is no separation, and throughout history, you know, some of the biggest ways that we've come a cropper, really, humanity, is to separate off. And one of those ways, big ways, is separate off, you know, almost pit masculine against feminine, feminine against masculine. And I mean, that time is, you know, that time is kind of over now. It's the dance of both, you know, it's the interwoven tango of the two that's important. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say, because I was inspired to say it today, and inspired by what I'd read, and wanted to make a comment to take it one stage further, because it really resonates with me personally. So when I put this out, it's not to actually ever challenge anyone's belief systems, although if it does do that, maybe it's meant to do that and press a few buttons, but actually it's just to get you thinking and feeling, does that feel right to you, and does that make sense to you? You know, not to convince anyone of anything. I just found it, it just makes complete sense with me, it resonates with me, and I want to take it a step further and say, not two separate creators, although, you know, there might be many creators. I don't have a problem with that. Again, you know, some people will be like, oh, Many creators. There is only one creator. That doesn't challenge me saying that, but it does resonate with me that a creator would have a balance of masculine and feminine, a balance of energy to filter down within the soul groups, the oversoul, the consciousness of the beings on the planet. That does make complete sense to me, so that's why I'm putting it out today. Anyway, I will love you and leave you. I've gone on much longer than I intended to go on this video, and I didn't even know I was going to bring this out today, but there you go. Until next time, take care, look after yourselves, especially in these challenging times where lots is changing very, very quickly, and time is really going very, very quickly. Take care, and I will love you and leave you. Bye-bye.